What is up, YouTube? Welcome back, Reef. I am excited to be making this video today, especially because it is a topic that I think will be on the uprise, especially this summer. But before I begin, I would like to say thank you to everybody who has been supporting me. I appreciate it. I hear you. I try my best to comment back and give you guys all the feedback that I could get, and so I appreciate it. I've went ahead and I've already invested in a tripod and a camera filter so I can show you guys the tanks. That way people aren't blinded with blue lights or are just focused more on the tank, and what I'm seeing is, corresponding to what you guys are seeing. And now, without further ado, I'd like to talk about today's topic, which is basically taking either vacation or time off from your tank. I love spending time with my tanks. I have 3 of them. There goes my ATO. And sometimes you just need to step away, and you can do this even though you're around your tank. You can do this if you're going away. It doesn't really matter. I think that both parties in this can benefit from it, especially the fish tank can benefit from it. You can benefit from it, and you can kind of jump back right in when you're done. But I'm about to be going off for about 3 days, and so I am getting the tanks ready. I did a 10-gallon water change on my 75. Now, most of these things that I do are for my 75-gallon fish tank, and that's mainly because that's where I focus a lot on. My 45-gallon and my 10-gallon anemone tank both have been doing perfectly fine. I don't tend to push a lot of time or focus into them, mainly because what they're set up for is different, and so they're not a mixed reef. They you don't have a more focused investment into it, and so it's a little bit different. Now, for my 75-gallon, I went ahead and I made sure that my apex was working. I threw it, did a couple of different tests, and ensured that everything was good. I've been doing hand testing, so with my henna and my sulfur test kits, making sure that all my parameters are perfectly fine. I focused a lot on the things that I am working on. So things that I'm working on are things that are, kind of a little bit on the worry side, that I think may cause problems. And so I focused a lot on that, which right now for me is phosphates and nitrates. That's been causing a huge play with my reef tank. And so I focused on testing. I did some alternative planning and jumped into action, basically. But yeah, kind of focusing on those little things and making sure that you are going into this comfortable and confident. And with that comes a lot of work that you have to put in beforehand. Now, if I wasn't taking time away from my tank, let's say I just wanted to, be able to feed my tank and not spend 3 hours after work every day, I would be focusing on implementing a plan where I test my water twice a week or once a week, and just feeding the tank, and minimize when you test, minimize to kind of just test it for only a few minutes. I think it takes me about 15 minutes to do all my testing manually. Now, I do have my tridents that help me a bunch, and I am still here longer than I should be. But my tridents are currently offline, and that's mainly because they need to be calibrated. And yes, I should have calibrated them before I left, but calcium reagents apparently is just nowhere to be found near me, so especially the one that I'm looking for, and so I'm kind of in a limbo. But I'm not worried about that. I'm going into this confident because for the last 6-7 months, maybe even 8 months, my calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium have all been stable. So we're just going to go into this, like I said, extremely confident, and whatever happens after those 3 days is the outcome. You learn from it, and that's the most important thing. Is whatever happens is you learn how to prevent it in the future. Feeding wise, which I think is the biggest thing in this hobby, right? You either have somebody who comes over to feed the tanks, or you set up an auto feeder, or you just go straight into it, let the fish kind of consume food that are in the tank. Now, these tanks are all stable. They've been up and running for quite some time now. I'm not too worried when it comes to food source found within the tank. But to focus a little bit more, I do have an auto feeder right at the top, and I usually run that twice a day. But what I will probably be doing is 3 times a day through my phone, and I'll also check in on my cameras, and that will help me kind of see how fish are doing. And my 75 has all the fish that I focus on feeding. My other tanks has either the 45 has a purple tang in it currently, so I'm not too worried about that, just mainly because there's algae, there's other things that the tang can pick on. The clowns can go quite some time before they need feeding, and like I said, they can kind of consume things that are within the tank. So is the damsel, and the same thing can be said for my 45 for my 10-gallon anemone tank. There's just a pair of clowns in there. I'm not too worried. But my focus is the 75, where I have anthias in there, where I have wrasses and smaller fish that can that really utilize feeding, and tangs, different types of tangs. And it's a higher load of fish that need more food. And so what I'm planning on doing is just feeding them either twice to 3 times, and just checking in with my camera. Now my camera will have 2 views of this tank, of these tanks here, and then I also have a camera upstairs for the tank. But other than that, guys, really just focusing on making sure that you are doing all the things that you want to be able to do. Clean your skimmer. Make sure that your refugium isn't overgrown. Making sure that you have ATO, huge thing. And so I'm going to move my camera around here for a second. You can see the line running through to my ATO. I made sure that my fuge is empty, and I'm actually about to clean out my skimmer. I did clean out my Trident waste containers, but I'm probably not going to be using them. Other than that, guys, really dosing food-wise for corals, I'm not too worried about, just mainly because my phosphates and nitrates are a little bit higher. Now, if you're a low on the lower end of those, you can obviously set up your dosers, and they can dose phosphates and nitrates, and all those things can be sorted. But I wanted to just jump on here, make a video, share with you guys the things that I do before I leave, and I think it's a great thing, taking time away from the tank, and like I said, both parties can benefit from it. Of course, my fish don't like me touching the tank every single day. I try not to. And then a huge thing also that I just remembered is making sure the frags that you have that are maybe loose, like for example for me, I have a couple of frags on the back frag rack that are loose, and usually I'll put them there until I have time to go in and kind of place them. And so making sure that those are placed and done before you leave are also important, because you don't want them to be back there for the next 3 days. I usually put them back on the frag rack. If late at night I notice a frag on the bottom of the sand bed, I pick it up and put it on the back. I don't have time to get my glue, my supplies, do X, Y, and Z. I just place it on the frag rack until I'm ready. So anyways, guys, I don't want to keep on ramping, and I'm already reaching 9.5 minutes. I want to say a huge thank you, and hopefully I have this video uploaded in the next couple of days. I'm hoping actually today. And yeah, I think my next topic is going to be talking a little bit more about my lighting, why I chose them, how they're doing, feedback, X, Y, and Z, and then talk a little bit about phosphates and just, I think, dosing in general, parameters. I think that would be a huge, important video, and kind of share my experience going through that in this mixed reef tank. But until then, guys, have a safe weekend, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.